That's good. There's some more George III stuff going on here.
Yeah, I reckon. Yeah, we'll take back our colony, you watch it.
You try it.
This is we had a mad king.
You have the problem.
You got that president.
We got a mad populace, we got a really mad Congress. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Bow your head. And then I can't do it in Albanian, or I would. I've been translated, I shouldn't make jokes. Yeah. So good morning, welcome. We have a smaller crowd this morning. So it's only the best and the brightest who have stayed for this final moment of the Congress. Do you care to go first? Here first. So, we have two wonderful speakers for you this morning.
They're so wonderful.
What page do you want?
So, we're going to begin this morning with Matthias Schäfer. Matthias is the chair of catechetics, religious education, and didactics of religion at the Catholic Theology faculty of the University of Innsbruck. He is a graduate member of the teaching staff of Ruth Krohn Institute International and also educated in Gestalt therapy and supervision. In recent years, he was supporting the implementation of Islamic religious education studies at the University of Innsbruck. His research focuses on communicative theology as a new theological culture, which includes interreligious dialogue and communication. Communicative theology is established in cooperation with Jochen Hildreth at Tübingen and Brad Hinsey in Fordham in New York. And an international and interdisciplinary research group. With the two researchers, he is editing Communicative Theology, Interdisciplinary Studies, a series of 16 volumes, and with Jochen Hildreth, Communicative Theology, which is the German version of those 16 volumes. His books include reflections on communicative theology and symbolic interaction, religious education in school, catechesis of sacraments, adult education, leadership, and human relationship. So I ask you to join me this morning in welcoming Matthias Schäfer.
Thank you, Eileen. Welcome to everyone of the Holy Rest as a theologian. I know from the Bible that the Holy Rest is the most important for Israel. Thank you very much for the dinner last evening and for organizing the whole conference. I'm a Christian and I'm a Christian theologian, and normally or usually at this moment I'm participating on the Eucharist of Eucharistie celebration of my parish. But I know as a theologian that Sunday begins on Shabbat evening, on Saturday evening, and the deepest meaning of the Eucharist is to be together. And this dinner yesterday evening was, for me, a symbol, a part of the new kind of Eucharistie that an interreligious community is celebrating, is eating and drinking together. So thank you very much for this organization. Also, all who are behind the big organizers, like Aslan. And thank you for the invitation to this conference. Yes, Eileen, you told us that my main perspective in research and teaching is the theological culture of communicative theology, like as named in the subtitle of the American version of the first volume of the series. I did not give this title, but the Americans did it, and I think it's very precise what we are doing. I try to practice this with our team, with the meaning of citizenship. There I will have 3 points in my presentation. First, a short introduction in communicative theology related to citizenship. Second, 3 contexts of citizenship in Austria in history. Austrofascism, National Socialism, and Austria post-Second World War, its integration of the EU. With this, I want to relativate this citizenship as a dogma of education. And the third is my conclusion. First, if you Google citizenship in Austria, you will find a huge number of references, nearly all of which are definitions of citizenship in Austrian law. Can a definition in law encompass all what citizenship means? I know a lot of people who are not citizens of Austria by law, but they are by mentality. Citizenship cannot be defined as a cold term, or also not educated in this minimum study as a cold term. Rather, it is a hot metaphor that belongs to everybody. Having this in mind, we ask in our first paragraph how communicative theology can lead us to a deeper understanding of citizenship from a theological perspective. I don't have the time to give an introduction in communicative theology here. I would like to do it, but it's not possible. But one sentence I say to this aspect or to this hermeneutic. Communicative theology is theology done in and from a living process of communication. This is the very first sentence in our first volume on communicative theology. When we speak about living processes, we address living communication processes. With this term, living communication, we relate to Ruth C. Cohn, to her concept of living learning, which is in paradox to dead learning. The Jewish Ruth Cohn was born in 1912 in Berlin. She emigrated from the Nazi terror, initially to Switzerland and then to the US. Her understanding of living learning is the self-responsible step of the seduction of inhumanity. Dead learning takes a very limited, often just a shame communication. Something, a task, a learning object, a content, a piece of tradition is a quasi-neutral object as matters without personal reference, without considering the dynamics in learning groups and independent to contexts in which learning processes will communicate. That learning, Ruth Cohn suspects, mainly occurs at universities, at schools. I think what we in Austria name Staatsbürgerkunde, this is a kind of that learning. because it gives the objects, the issues, it's only information about this. It's dry knowledge as an anonymous product, isolated from its background, without personal reference. That learning is far from any real social context and without an anthropological and ethical basis. Citizenship can be communicated, and sometimes is communicated as a dead object within the legal system, or it can be educated as an existential theme. As an existential theme, it would include the I of everyone as an autonomous, interdependent subject. Who am I as a citizen or without citizenship? Not a